filmmakers and podcast listeners. This is the Pic-a-Flic podcast, and I'm your host with the most, the Western Wonder. In this episode, I'll be covering a movie that Apple only had in theaters for approximately 48 business hours plus tax, and the theaters that did get it were extremely limited. No kidding. The closest showing for this movie where I live now is an hour away, and that movie is none other than Highest to Lowest. Spike Lee is back, baby, and this time it's another remake. Now, when certain cinephiles and movie watchers hear the words Spike Lee and remake in the same sentence, it gives them Saving Private Ryan level flashbacks to some very underwhelming feature films. Well, this time he's tackling an Akira Kurosawa film, High and Low, a film I previously haven't seen, but now I kind of regret not watching it before this one, just so I can properly compare the differences between the two. It also reunites Mr. Lee with the man who came from around the way that always leaves with something, everybody's Unc Denzel Washington, or the Dens for short, for their fifth collaboration overall and first since the movie Inside Man, released nearly 2 decades ago. With all these things in place, will Spike Lee prevail in securing a top-notch remake for once? We'll find out after I quickly break down this plot. Denzel Washington plays David King, a shady music industry mogul whose company is between a rock and a hard place after holding out on a lucrative deal that would quickly shut it to business. Things take a bit of a turn when the son gets caught in the crossfire of a kidnapping, but a misunderstanding seems to be in place as the kidnappers actually takes David's son's best friend, who happens to be the child of David's close friend in Chauffeur, played by Jeffrey Wright. Even worse, the head honcho of the crime, ironically an aspiring rapper trying to come up in the industry, wants all of David's money that he recently made. From then on, the chase for justice, and of course the green stacks, takes place as David questions his loyalty, honesty, and general trajectory of his life and career. Well, I think my thoughts about this film can be summed up in about 2 words. Mixed bag. It truly does play into the title, with there being highs and lows throughout. But let's start with the highs. In terms of cinematography and technical work, this movie is beautiful from start to finish. It truly is like Spike Lee's love letter to New York City, as the opening sequences definitely has more inspired aerial shots than an entire season of New York Undercover. Now, when the film gets rocky, a good core of the actors keeps us afloat. Denzel Washington playing indecisive and shady, been there, done that. But regardless, it's always a blast seeing him have fun on screen, and of course, sports some of the finest fits. Jeffrey Wright is also a very strong co-star who has effortlessly chemistry with the Dens. As this movie does have ties with music, the supporting cast features 2 of the most prominent music artists of the day, Travis Scott and Lotto. That's A$AP Rocky and Ice Spice. Well, the latter's role is delegated to a mere cameo, but the former is the big villain here, and honestly, as soon as possible, did pretty good holding court against the Dens. He did a good job embodying this guy trying to come up in the music world, but is going about it in all the wrong ways. And this is despite a certain issue that I have with the majority of the characters that will be addressed. I mean, shoot, even his little jingle is pretty catchy. And since we're on the topic of music, now is a perfect time to segue into the lowest part of the movie, and that starts with the score and music. Now granted, it isn't a bad score, but the volume always seems to overtake the scenery, which makes it difficult to connect to it at times. Even one of the better sequences of the movie, which takes place during the Puerto Rican themed parade and a blink and you miss it cameo, is a bit all over the place. Maybe if they brought in Pitbull to say, "Make some noise," I probably would have been a little more hyped. Also, some of the musical choices near the climax of the film were especially baffling. I don't think that music that you hear in a Sims game backing a chase scene works. Well, in the game it would, but not in this movie. Nor do I think that it's worth hearing a character who wasn't very well developed get a full musical number for themselves. Hell, I almost docked the point of this movie for Americanizing this banger of a gibberish song.
We don't stay in the shoes now, the whole building scene, then the whole red maybe get the color boss dying.
But I'm never this petty of a critique. Or am I? Nah, just playing. All this seems just to be like, dare I say it, Spike Lee's take on a movie like, say, Graffiti Bridge for instance. Sorry, Prince. But the final half was essentially 60% music video, 40% story. But more on the character arcs, I feel that a lot of the big players aren't very well written, or their stories are resolved with menial payoff in the end, and I really couldn't connect with them in moments. I think that this is testament to a majority of the actors rising above the script that they're given. Also, for the Denz's character, it feels like the original ending of Training Day, but make it centered on the ills of the music biz. He essentially gets off scot-free with everything back to normal in the end. Maybe if he had gone through more things, it probably would have clicked better for me. I will give him props on this one thing though. He's not rocking with the AI music crowd, and there's a bit of disgruntled about the rise of internet impacting the biz. So good to know that Spike Lee and future Oscar winner for War of the Worlds Ice Cube both have something in common.
AI is bullshit. Fuck AI. Fuck AI. Fuck AI. Oh my god.
Overall, on the Pic-a-Flic rating scale out of 5 popcorn buckets, highest to lowest gets a 3 out of 5, and a very light 3 at that. It's not bad but not super great by any stretch of imagination, and as I said earlier, it really breathes its title inside and out. When it reaches its highs, it's pretty entertaining nuggets with amazing camera work, but at its lowest, there's issues with threading the plot and character development, and not to mention the score being all over the place and not fitting various key moments sometimes. If you like Spike Lee, or Denzel Washington, or Jeffrey Wright, or even as soon as possible Rocky, Fenty, then this may be the film for you, but I personally wouldn't come back to it anytime soon. I may stream the song again after this, but not the movie. And that's going to be a wrap for this episode and review. Now coming up, ahead of spooky Halloween season in October, I'll be covering Zach Cregger's Weapons. I shall also be dropping a bonus episode fairly soon with an old friend and a guest of the pod. Stay tuned on that. But until then, if you want to be in the know for when episodes are out, make sure you subscribe to the pod wherever you listen to said shows, and tell a friend to tell another friend who knows another friend to check out the podcast. All support and feedback is appreciated. If you're listening on YouTube and you enjoyed this episode, make sure you smash that like button, comment, and subscribe, you know the drill. Also, if you want to follow us on social media, we can be found on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok under the username handle at Pic-a-Flic that is at PICAFLICPOD. And if review logging is your thing, then you may be familiar with Letterboxd, where you can also find non-audio exclusive reviews that I do under the aforementioned Pic-a-Flic username handle. So be sure to follow me there if you use that platform. Once again, thank you all for tuning in for these episodes, and until the next one, this is the Western Wonder, and I'm signing out to pack the trunk from the front into the back. Peace.
Bye, have a great time.